And, Ira Glass, my boss, he told me that they were going to have to bleep out some of the words. And I knew there was, the F word appears a couple times in the story. I understood bleeping that out, but he was like, no, we have to bleep out the title, which is Nibble, Lick, Suck, and Feast. I just didn't understand that, and he explained to me, like, there was some, individually, any one of those words can be used on National Public Radio, Nibble, Lick, Suck, and Feast, but collectively, all four cannot be used in one sentence. It's not like NPR by law or something. So I'll give you the raw, unedited version right now. And basically what the story's about is, like, a few years ago when the first Found book came out, me and my brother, we realized there was fines in there from every single state. So we thought it was only fair to take the show on the road, share the stuff with people out, every state we went to. But also, people brought us great finds from every state. And the publicity team, Simon & Schuster, had put the book together with me. And they had a great publicity team. They got us on the Letterman show a few times. We got to meet Jamie Foxx, one of my all-time favorite actors, a bunch of other my favorite musicians and stuff. But we also did a lot of media stuff that was less glamorous, like the morning show in Amarillo, Texas. Just shit like that. So this story is about some, those experiences. It takes me like 5 minutes to read this thing, and then I'll wrap up, my friends, and I'll wrap up with a few of my all-time favorite finds. But here's the story: Nibble, Lick, Suck, and Feast. Here it is, unedited. Nibble, Lick, Suck, and Feast. Nibble, Lick, Suck, and Feast. Nibble, Lick. Simon & Schuster published a book I put together called Found. I bought a van on eBay and hit the road with my brother, Peter, for an 8-month, 50-state, 136-city tour. The publicity team at Simon & Schuster had managed to get me booked on local morning TV shows in most of these cities. How it worked, I'd show up at the station around 6:30 a.m. A producer would clip a little microphone on me, and somewhere between weather and sports, one of the morning show anchors and I would talk about the book for 2 to 3 minutes. Early on in the tour, I took these gigs pretty seriously. After all, the publicists and TV stations were clearly doing me a huge favor trying to help spread word about the book. In Philadelphia, Boston, and New York, I made sure to arrive plenty early, act energized, and be prepared with cool Found notes to share. But by the third week of the trip, I was starting to wonder who exactly was watching the local news at 7 a.m. A lot of the hosts of the shows were real cool and genuinely excited about the book, but most of them didn't get the whole idea behind it. Yet this only increased their chipperness and jaunty dawn enthusiasm. Those pants are so fun, they'd say, looking me up and down. Plaid pants, you're fun. What kept me excited about these TV gigs was getting to meet and hang out with the other folks who were my fellow guests on the morning shows. These were local chefs with recipes of the week, mayoral candidates, a team of Irish dancers, a kid with an 80-pound pumpkin. In Baltimore, on Fox 5's Good Morning Baltimore, I did my little Found song and dance. Then the anchor asked me to stay on her couch while she brought out the next guest, Baltimore's best mom. This was right before Mother's Day. Baltimore's best mom turned out to be an 87-year-old woman named Darnella Cole. She sat next to me on the couch, and on the far side of her sat her 50-year-old son, Dice. Darnella grew weepy. The anchor asked Dice to read the letter he'd written nominating his mother for the prize. Darnella had no idea why she'd been asked to come on TV. They plotted this as a surprise. At last, the anchor declared Darnella Baltimore's best mom and produced an oversized plaque and presented it to her, at which point Darnella fell sobbing into my arms. I gave her a wild bear hug, caught up in the moment. The anchor woman joined our embrace. Dice, meanwhile, had lit up a cigarette. And our producer raced over and splashed with a splash of sparkling water. She doused with a splash of sparkling Evian. Darnella took this in and began hollering at her son and whacking him with her new plaque. Dice, you can't smoke in here. This is TV we're making. What you think, boy? Put that damn thing out. There were other high points. And by high points, I mean low points for the stations and their guests. In Cleveland, 2 city parks employees showed off an injured hawk and falcon they'd rescued and rehabilitated. And the falcon got loose and started flapping about, peeing on everything. The anchors had to forge on to the local news and sports and weather, while the falcon continued to dive bomb them. rationing its urine, so I had a nip to drip a few drops on them with every sortie. It was fucking amazing. In Chicago, a young soccer champ who was invited out to demonstrate his fancy moves booted a ball off the wall of the stead, knocking it over backwards, revealing the fact that we were not actually in the host's living room, as it might appear, but in the middle of a big dead concrete hangar. In Phoenix, I was sandwiched on air between Cedric the Entertainer and the governor of Arizona. Cedric came on right before me, dropped a couple F-bombs, and then sheepishly left, telling him chaperone, I didn't mean to say that shit, it just came out, I swear to God. Also, my brother and I, Peter, we do a family event in one city, hit the road for 7 hours, taking turns driving all night. I get to the TV station parking lot in Louisville or Milwaukee, around 4 a.m., for a couple hours of sleep, before it was time for me to unfold myself, climb inside all rumpled and bleary-eyed, and do my thing for 90 seconds on air. In the wee hours, security guards in the station lots would poke flashlights at our van windows and roust us. And I'd explain that I was going to be a guest on the morning show, and they'd disappear for 20 minutes to check into it, then come back and wake us again to tell us that things had checked out and everything was cool. In Seattle, after a young security guard played this game with us, I asked him if I could come inside to use the jar. We ended up talking for a while. His name was Pico. It turned out the station was moving soon to brand new larger digs, and that Pico was going to be replaced by an automatic gate with a swipe card. Pico asked why I was going to be on the morning show, and I explained to him the whole idea behind the found book. All notes and letters that folks around the country had found and sent in to me. Little scraps that gave a glimpse into the lives of strangers. Pico got excited. He told me that earlier that very same night he'd been sifting through boxes that were being tossed out before the station's big move. Just looking for mugs, t-shirts, old calculators, anything of value. And he found a bunch of racy notes from the morning show's old dour anchorman to a young camerawoman. We galloped out back to the dumpsters and mucked about until we found the stack of steamy pages. You should read some of these on the show, Pico. I resisted for a bit, but Pete was vehement. This guy's a class A asshole, he said. I'm telling you, he got a janitor fired for throwing out his lucky tie that he left on the bathroom floor. She had worked here 8 years. 3 hours later, we were on the air. Ackerman was turning to me with a grumpy look. So tell me about this book. You collect trash, is that it? You like trash, trashy, trash? One person's treasures, another's treasure. You might very well have been drunk at 7:15 in the morning. Yes, sir, I said, people are finding this stuff all over the country, all over the world, and sending it in to me. Some of it's hilarious, some of it's heartbreaking. It's hilarious and heartbreaking and amazing how powerfully you can get a sense of someone just from some little ripped piece of paper you pick up off the grass, like this one, for example. And I was going fine and read it out loud. Stacy, you've got a rack on you, now that's a pair. I will nibble, lick, suck, and feast on them. Quit playing hard to get. What an expression that fellow had on his face. Back in the lobby, Pico stood with 2 janitors by a big TV. And as I walked past them out into the bright, glowing morning sun, they applauded and cheered and called after me, "Good job, man. Good fucking job."